In this video, we will explore creating graphs, tables first, and graphs of us compared to other schools. If you haven't received this data yet, because in the original student data file, all you got was the raw data. So if you haven't received other schools' data, which are separate files, you'll be getting those soon. But when you do, you'll want to create a new sheet within the same assignment that you've created your first drafts for averages and for percent meeting. Just create a new one called Other School. And then, to be fair, you need to collect Murray's class average and Murray's percent meeting benchmark 19s and above with all the other schools, because our individual data that was in the raw data might be a little off for reasons I won't get into in the video. But while you're collecting information for schools, collect ours as well. So you'll need to decide what schools you want to compare us to. So in the suggestion 2 file, you could compare us to neighboring schools like Callaway and Marshall and Graves and Mayfield. You could compare us to high-performing schools, so Google that and figure out who those are. You'll have access to the data, so you can kind of figure out who they are. But like Beechwood and Fort Thomas are a couple examples of typically high-performing schools that we could compare to. But in the suggestions 2 file, section 2 suggestions file, you've got this, these two ideas explained. You can either use math averages for every class, or you can use the percent meeting 19 and above. You don't have all the other schools' individual student data to look at their calculus group or their college algebra group or anything like that. You only have 2 pieces of data: the class average for that school that year and the percent making 19 or above, which is by definition being ready for college. Okay, so knowing that, go back to your file, create that other school demo, and then list your schools out, and I'll show you how to collect that data. This is fake data. These are not accurate pieces of data. They're just for illustration. But I've got my class average one started to compare Callaway, Murray, and Marshall. Now I'm going to start another table for the percent meeting benchmark. So copy paste and copy paste. If I wanted this all to be the same color, I could change it to this color. If I wanted these boxes here to have borders around them, select them and add borders. Just reviewing a few basic things here. Now the files that I've given you access to, there are several of them. They are, let's see, they are these files right here. So the class of 09 to 13, their averages and their percent meeting are all in one file. After 2013, every graduating class has its own file. So you can kind of see how that is laid out there. So let's take a look at the class of 09 to 13 averages. If I wanted to know what, Beechwood Independent, what their math average was, remember this is about math. This whole project is about the math data. I could go to the mathematics average for Beechwood, and it's 24.6, and then collect that data and write it down in my table. Again, to be fair, we need to collect Murray's data. So if you scroll down, Murray for math would be right there, 21.7. So the class of, I'm on class of 2013 here. Class of 2013 should be 21.7. The class of 2012 is here, 11, 10, 9, and you can collect all that data and organize it into your table right here. Again, this is made up data, so do not use it. But once you've collected all of the class averages from 2009 to 13, you'll have this data here from the first file alone. So to get 2014, you'll need to click on the class of 2014 data. And when you're collecting it, it's got a little bit more data on this one page. It's got the math average, and it's got the percent making 19 and above. So you'll need this file to collect those. Okay, but for the average of Murray High would be class average of 21.3 for the class of 2014. So we would need to go back to our table, and class of 2014, Murray would be 21.3. That's not, these are made up numbers, but that's pretty much what it is. But anyways, 21.3 would go there, and then of course you can figure out from there. Class of 2015 data is here, 2016 here, and so forth and so forth. So you'll need some time to collect this data. So on the front end, make sure you decide what classes, or I'm sorry, what schools that you want to compare us to. Keep your audience in mind. Site-based has parents on it, the principal on it, and teachers on it. They probably don't really care how well we compare to schools on the eastern side of the state unless those schools are high performing or something like that. We're not going to compare to Boone County just to, compare to Boone. But if they're a good performing school, then maybe that's why you're picking them. So anyways, keep that in mind as you pick your schools. The other way to compare schools are percent meeting 19 and above. So I'll collect a couple of these. Callaway, Murray, and Marshall. So the first file I showed you was the 09 to 013 or to 13 averages. Well, there's an 09 to 13% MET file as well. So class of 2009 for Murray. I need to freeze this. Might as well freeze it while we're doing the video, but I have frozen this top row for you so that when you scroll down, the top row stays there. And Murray, the percent meeting math benchmark was 45.5. So in my file, I would put 45.5. If it doesn't have percents already, highlight it, click percent, and make it 1 decimal. Oops, 1 decimal. So Callaway, what were they? Well, let's see. Callaway, there they were. Callaway's percent was 33.8. 33.8. And Marshall, what were they? Class of 2009, Marshall County was 32.0. All right, so you get the picture. You could collect all this data piece by piece. When you get to the class of 2014, of course, you'll have to click on this and get Murray's percent meeting right here, 63.4. So class of 2014, 63.4. 15s, 16s, 17s, etc. Those data are all, again, on individual files. So a lot of combing through data to collect this data. So it's all the more reason to be thoughtful on the front end of what schools you want to collect. You can always go back and collect a different school, but you see how much time it would take to do so. So if you need to figure out how to create the picture for a class average graph, again, remember there's a video for that, of how to create the table, the picture for these averages, comparative bar graph, a comparative line graph, etc. And if it's percent meeting, you don't have to do it the way we did in the percent meet or the percent met videos I showed you, because these files have already done that work for you. You don't have to find the percentage. This file right here tells you the percentage. And then the last thing I would say about the other school data, when you're comparing us to other schools, this project is about math. So you do need to have math averages and math percent meeting graphs and pictures first and foremost. But if you have some good average graphs from before, some good Murray State graphs from before, maybe even a creative graph from before, and you've got your comparing us to other schools graphs created and want to explore some extra stuff, you're more than welcome to explore the other areas as kind of a sidebar conversation to your paper. Again, math is the focus, math will be the thesis, but this could maybe be some extra things to conclude, or extra things to add into the paper. And the focus of the paper looks like the sentence got cut off, must be math, which is what I'm saying, but you're welcome to dive into some of these other territories as supplemental ideas. The English, the reading, the science. If you didn't notice before, in this file, you've got the English average for every class of 9 to 13. You've got the percent meeting English benchmark, college ready for English, college ready for reading. You've got that data already there. And in the 14-15, you've got the same data. You've got the class average for English, you've got the percent meeting English's benchmark, reading, and you've got composite science data, and you've got composite data. So there's a lot of other options you could take this if you wanted to have some supplemental things for the paper.